Okie dokie, we are on page 67 in grammar. So let's go ahead and go there first, page 67. All right, on page 67, we're talking about homophones. We've talked about these a little bit before. Homo is same, phone is sound. So basically that word means same sound. And we have a lot of those in English that sound exactly the same, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. For instance, at the end of this paragraph, we have two, and two. Obviously, they all sound exactly the same, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. So the first one, to, right here says is a preposition or part of an infinitive. Like to the left is a preposition, and that's actually a prepositional phrase. And then to escape, when it's next to a verb like that, is called an infinitive. It's not actually, so that word escape would not be a verb because it has the word to in front of it, to. And then there's TWO, and that is a number. 2 soldiers, 1, 2, TWO. And then there's TOO, is an adverb meaning also or to an excessive degree. So had it too or too long. Okay, those are the examples there. So they're going to do this wrong on purpose in this book, and then you have to find the ones that are incorrect, and then you're just going to draw a line through it and write it the correct way above it. Like this example here, 2 palace guards ran up to the princess. So this should be the number 2 palace guards, TWO, and that becomes an adjective telling how many. And then here, to the princess is a prepositional phrase. So not TOO, but just TO. All right, we're also going to talk about quotation marks and end marks. Quotes or quotations are when someone is speaking in the story. So here's the quote, "I want the gold." And you can see those little marks before and after. Those indicate somebody is speaking in the story. One of the characters is speaking. And then that word attribution, that means who is speaking. The princess declared. It's saying who's speaking and how they're speaking. Okay, that's what the attribution is. So there's a couple of rules with the quotation marks and with punctuation. So if you skip down here, these are the 3 main examples here on how to do it with punctuation. So if the attribution is first, remember that's the person speaking. So if it was like Bob said, comma, and then the quote, and notice the period is inside of the quote. If the quote comes first, you do the quote and then a comma inside the quotation mark and then the attribution. Okay, so that's how it is either way. It flips. It just depends on, however the author likes to put it, or they change it up sometimes just so it's not repetitive. And that's what you're going to do eventually in your writing too, when you have speaking parts in there. In fact, we are going to talk about that today because you guys are going to finish up your story about the little red hen. And remember, the cat, the rat, and the pig, they all do talking back and forth. So when you do your homework, you might want to check this page on how to set it up. Okay. If it's a question with the attribution first, it's always attribution, comma, quote, and look at the question mark is inside of the quotation mark or quotation, mark. If the quote comes first, no comma in between, just quote, question, attribution. And then here's if it's an exclamation, same thing as the question mark, okay? Attribution, comma, quote, or quote, attribution. So they're back and forth like that. It gets easier once you practice this a few times. So just know these are the rules. At the very, very bottom, you're going to fix it because sometimes the actual marks are not there that you have to put in. So it says the soldier exclaimed, by the way, that's an attribution. The soldier exclaimed, comma, the princess took it. And that has an exclamation mark inside of the quote. All the punctuation goes on the inside. That's something that I used to forget when I was your age, like writing and stuff. Is like, does it go on the outside or the inside? It always goes on the inside, okay? Any questions about this page? No? Okay. Let's go to the practice. It's pretty short, which is nice. Nisaya, could you read it for us, please?
The soldier observed the princess for too long.
Okay, good. You probably noticed right away that word two is incorrect. That doesn't, this is the number two. So Nisaya, how should we spell two? Let's just fix that first.
With two O's?
Yes, T-O-O, indicating like excessive, okay? Too long. The vocabulary word is observed. And do you know what that means, Tyler? Go ahead.
It means like to watch carefully or to study.
Very good. Yes, I like how you describe that. Yes. All right, and then there's two articles. You can go ahead and write these in up here and then go ahead and label them by yourself. All right, and then Nisaya, there's three nouns. Where are the three nouns?
Soldier.
Yeah.
Princess. Long?
Yes, good. That sounds kind of weird that long would be a noun, but it is because it has this too long on here. Plus, we know that there's a prepositional phrase in that. But that is correct. Good job. We'll come back to the prepositional phrase in a second, but Tyler, what about the verbs? There's only one.
Observe.
Yes, good. And then Nisaya, who observed? Who's going to be the subject in this sentence?
The soldier.
Good. Now the prepositional phrase, Tyler, is going to be pretty easy because everything has a label except for the preposition.
For too long.
Good, for too long. So that is another indication that long is a noun, because remember, prepositional phrases stop on a noun or a pronoun. Usually it's a noun, I will say that.
So is that the best way to do the prepositional phrases?
I think so. I like to save them till the end on the list.
Yeah, because sometimes I struggle with them.
Yeah, me too. Those are probably for me the hardest ones to spot, but if you do it last, it's usually the word that doesn't have a label on it yet. So that see if that helps you, okay, Tyler. Nisaya, what about the capital?
The T and the.
Good. And then the end mark, Tyler?
The period at the end of long.
Good. And then we already fixed the homophone. That was the word to. So we already got that. That was it. That was fast. I like those lessons. All right. So your homework in grammar, you're going to write this down at the bottom later after class. And then the next 3 pages. Okay. Let's get out the binder next. Okay. So you guys were working on the little red hen. Give me a thumbs up if you got to finish that first paragraph for your homework this week. Okay, good. Then Tyler, okay, I see that. Good. Good. And if you have it with you, or if you have access to it, go ahead and look at it with me real quick. And I'm just gonna pull up the checklist here. So remember, this checklist is really probably, in my opinion, one of the most important pieces to use. in this class. So this is so important that I want you to have it with you all the time when you do your writing. This is also how I grade your homework. So I want you to look down each box. Now, this week you only did one paragraph, so you wouldn't have anything checked off in 2 or 3 here. Only this first row under paragraph 1. But starting at the top, you guys are both really good about name and date. Composition double space, you're good about that. Title, you don't have to worry about that till you're done with your story. So this week you're going to work on paragraphs 2 and 3. And when you're done with paragraph 3, that very final sentence, that's when you're going to try to tie it into the title. Okay. And then story follows story sequence chart. You're pretty good about doing that. Paragraph contains at least 4 sentences. Pretty good about that. This last box here, you don't need to worry about because that's only if we were in person. So Tyler, did you have a question about any of that?
Not about that, but as I was overviewing my paragraph, I saw that one of my words was not double spaced. So if it didn't update on the document, I can always re-upload it if you need me to.
Let me see. I'll just check it really quick on the side here because I can pull it up. Let me see.
I'll have to re-put in my pages because it all went in sideways.
Oh, okay. I see what you have here. Oh yeah. Those are your, don't worry about that, your grammar. You don't have to resubmit that. I can look at it sideways. But the page that has your paragraph on it, I do see where it got weird for some reason.
So if you want me to, I can resubmit that after class.
Yeah, I'll just return it to you right now, and then later you can resubmit that. You can fix it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And I know that, man, I wish that you were able to submit it as a Google Doc. You still haven't figured that out yet, huh? Because
Oh,
you
wait, submitted it as like a Google Doc?
yeah, because you're turning
think-
it in as a screenshot. I think you take a picture of the screen. Is that how you turn it in?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could turn it in as a Google Doc, then I
So-
can actually work with it too.
I can go add or create and then create new docs. And then to resubmit it, I could just copy and paste my entire paragraph and put it on there.
You could, but there's a way to share it. Do you know how to share a Google Doc? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to copy and paste. What a Google Doc is a live document. It's pretty cool because when you're using Google, it stores it online. And then if you give me access to it on the classroom, then we can work with it together. It's pretty cool if you can learn how to do that. But basically on your document, there's a button on the right, on the upper right, that'll say share. And that's how you share it to the Google.
Yeah, I know how to share it.
Okay, try that. It would be cool if you learned how to do that because then it's so much easier for me to grade it and give you comments and stuff on it.
Okay, I'll try.
So try that. And if you need help, there's lots of YouTube videos out there. If you just type in how to share a Google Doc on Google Classroom, you'll find, as long as your parents are okay with you searching on YouTube, check with them first.
Yeah, I just need to be able to have the email to share it.
Yeah, it's not through email though. It's through Google Classroom. So it's a little bit different than email. I don't know. It's hard to explain over Zoom, but see if you can figure it out later. Okay. And then I was going to look at Nisai's. Just take a peek at it really quick. Yeah, you turned it in through Google Docs. So good job, Nisaya. That's how I like it best. And I do see that you underlined your dress ups, which is awesome. So, and I do see that you gave it a new title, and that's okay, but just make sure if you want that to be the title, in the end, make sure to incorporate at least one of those words in your final sentence, okay? In your third paragraph. Does that make sense, Nasiah? Okay. But it looks good. To feed her chicks, she also lazy rat and begin rat. Interesting. Okay, good. I don't think I see any banned words, so that's good. So yeah, let's look back again at your, I'm gonna minimize, oh, I didn't even share that, but that's okay. So I kind of went over this top part, and then here, of course, is your dress ups. And I do see that both of you had words underlined, 3. Now you can use more than one in your paragraphs, but just underline only one of them. And then your banned words here is kind of getting longer. Say, said, see, saw, think, thought, and go, went. Make sure that you don't use those words. And remember, we put that page behind the tab that says banned words in your binder. So if you find a banned word in your paragraph, go to that tab, look at the list, pick a different word, and then that'll fix it. So eventually, not yet, but eventually you'll see on the checklist here, it'll be -1 point for each banned word you accidentally use. So it's good to get in a good practice with it, not using those. Okay. Let's go ahead and get out the story sequence chart we were working on last week. I have 2 here. Does this look like yours, or is it this one? Did we use Z's on number 2, or did we not use Z's? We did. You guys have Z's on yours? Okay. Because I couldn't remember which one. I have 2 classes today on the same level, and I was like, wait, which one is it? Okay. Let's also get out the original story. The Little Red Hen is. And by the way, this pink list is going to come in really handy. So make sure you also keep that nearby when you're writing your paragraphs, because that will help you come up with some good words. Okay, you want me to check it? You said, I see, Tyler, your note, a 3rd attachment for the paragraph.
You can check it after class.
Yeah, okay, I will. I'll let you know if I see that. Okay, so remember the story. She's this little red hen who's just wanting so desperately to make some bread. And, you know, we've got those other 3 characters in here, the cat, the pig, and the rat, and they're all just being selfish, basically, and not wanting to help her at all. So this is the story sequence chart. And usually at the beginning, we always talk about characters and setting. So who remembers what happens in the middle of the story? Who remembers what the next thing we talk about in a story sequence chart? Do you remember?
The problem.
Yeah, good, Tyler. The problem, or the other word is conflict. So on your outline here, on your story sequence chart, let's just put conflict / problem. And this is when we answer that question, what? Like, what does the character need? What does the character want? What is happening? What is the problem, right? And we're going to be talking about that in the middle of this story. So who can tell me basically what is the problem in the story of the Little Red Hen? What is the problem? Do you know what it is, Nasiah? What is the main problem of the story?
No one wants to help.
Yes, no one wants to help. Very good. So this is when we're going to kind of go into a little more detail about what they're saying. And remember, she keeps asking, who will help me? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, not I, not I, not I. So, all right. So we got to get that down on our story sequence chart here. We left off right here that she found this wheat seed. So we need to transition from that, finding the seed, to what she wants to do with the seed. Remember, the story still has to flow. So Tyler, what was it that the little red hen wanted to do with the seed?
Let me take a look at the thing real quick.
Yeah, you can look back on she found the seed, and then, well, ultimately, what did she want to make with it? Bread, exactly.
She
So
wanted to make flour to make bread.
it was kind of like this domino effect, right? She has to first plant it and grow it and cut it and thresh it and then smash it, or, turn it into the flour. And yeah, there's a lot of steps, but basically let's put LRH for little red hen. She's wanting to, I'm going to put here, grow wheat, and then I'm going to draw an arrow and put bread, because ultimately that's what she wants. She wants to eventually make bread. I can relate to her because I love bread. I don't know about you guys, but I love bread. And sometimes it's like, man, I just really need some bread right now. I just need bread. It's so good with butter or whatever, And so she's probably thinking, man, I really want to eat some bread and share it with my chickies. Well, I think initially she wanted to share it with everybody. I think she was thinking, everybody would enjoy it,
But after, in the end, she's like, yeah, no, I don't want to share it.
like, yeah, no, forget it. You had your chance, right? Yeah. All right. So the first question, looking back on the story here, it's right about in the middle of this page is when we start learning what's happening here. So, Nisaya, what is the first thing that she asks help with?
Who will plant the seed?
Yeah, who will plant seed? So you can put quotations here because now we've got some speaking parts here. Plant seed. She's asking who's going to help plant the seed. And I put those in quotes. So, and remember, this is where it's going to get tricky for you guys because you cannot use the word said. It's a banned word, remember? So you can get creative and say, like, chickens, they cluck. Or you could say she yelled or called out or something. You're going to have to really stretch your brain, and you can look up different words for said if you wanted to. It's also on your banned words in your tab there on that blue page. So, but then we have these three characters up here. So I think the best way to do this on our outline, because it's just so much to remember, go ahead and circle the C in cat, the P in pig, and the R in rat. We're going to call this CPR. C, comma, P, comma, R, the cat, the pig, and the rat. That way we don't have to burn up our words just on telling who's doing what here. But how do they all respond to her when she's asking for help planting a seed? What do they say?
Not I.
Not I. That's right. We already have two words. So I'm just going to put the word no. But you guys can get creative on how they respond. Like you can say something like, no way, Jose. or something else. I don't know. Nope. You could say nope. Or what's another? Or they just shake their head. You can get creative. You don't have to say not I, not I, not I the whole time. Okay. So change it up a little bit. After she asks for help planting the seed, then what's the next question? She says, okay, I will then. And then she starts doing the next part. What's the next part, Tyler? What does she ask next?
She asks, hang on, I'm looking.
Okay, that's okay.
Who will cut the wheat, or is that
Yeah.
her?
That's it. Who will cut it? So basically the plant grew and she's asking cut, like who will help cut? Who will help cut? And of course, as we know, CPR, no. And I'm just going to do that again. But remember, you can change it up. So each response could be something a little bit different. So it's not too repetitive. So the wheat grew. It was time to cut it. And she called out, who will cut the wheat? And the cat and the pig and the rat all said, nope, or no way, Jose, or sorry, Charlie. Something like that. You can get creative on how to say that. All right. So then, Nasaya, what is the next question after she asks who will cut the wheat? Then what does she ask after she does all that? It's at the very bottom there.
Very bottom.
Yeah, on the front page on 65. This is the next question down here.
Who will thresh the wheat?
Yes, who will thresh the wheat? And by the way, that word thresh, remember, is taking it apart. So if you've ever seen a wheat plant, it's almost like little seeds or little pods, right? They're little pieces on the plant. That's the wheat. Everything else is trash because it's just helping those parts grow. So when it comes time to harvest it, you have to take it apart. So you put away, you just kind of put back into the ground or whatever, the parts you don't need, but she's asking for help with that. So we can say, and then after that, on the back side, because we're running out of space on our outline here. So what is the next part she asks, Tyler, after who will thresh the wheat? What's the next part on the back that she asks?
Who will carry the wheat to the mill to be ground?
Yes. Okay. So she's asking who will thresh. We'll put thresh there. That's a question mark. Thresh, comma, carry. And then, of course, CPR, they all say no again.
What is one creative? I can't think of any other creative words.
For no?
Yeah.
We-
That is one word.
Yeah.
I could think of many, but they aren't one.
Let's turn this over. I think that's a great question. And then we can make a little list on the back here because obviously you could say no or nope or no way, Jose. Have you heard that one before?
Yes, but I don't think that's entirely one word, is it?
Oh, for your outline, no, but when you go to write your paragraph, you could say that.
Oh, yeah.
This is for later. When you write your paragraph, you can say something like that.
Okay, then I can think of many.
Yeah, or like, sorry, Charlie. I kind of like that one. Sorry, Charlie. Or this one, is UH. It's not really a word, but we're just trying to get creative on, how can you have them say no a bunch of different ways? Can you guys think of
Or
any?
they could, if they become really like mean like they do later, they could just say, why would I?
Why would I? I like it. They're rude. Yeah, those work. Those are good ideas. That'll help you because they say it a lot. And so you don't want to keep saying not I, not I. Although you could put one not I in there. You just don't want to say that like every single time, like the original story says it every single time. Is kind of like,
Because it would get repetitive.
yes, it
It
get
would be
repetitive.
like not thinking of your own ideas.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll help you get an idea of what else you can do. So then the last, well, not the last question, but getting closer. After taking it to the mill, and then she does all this stuff, she wakes up and she's like, today's the day. And then what does she ask Nasiah next?
Who will bake the bread?
Who will bake the bread? Yep. So help bake. CPR. Big surprise. I'm just using no in all of these just so that it's easy on our outline. But remember, you don't have to use the exact words. This is just helping you realize the sequence, right? Okay, so then that's the problem. Look at all these no's. No's, no, 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 no.
I really hope we're finishing the entire thing.
We are finishing it entirely today. Yes.
It gets really funny towards.
I know it gets good, and you can even add some more humor to it if you think of things that they can say to each other. Or earlier I was talking to a different class, and I was like, it's like she goes neener neener. Have you ever heard of that before? Neener neener. You could say that, like, you can't have any bread. Ha ha. Okay, so what is this part at the end after we talk about the conflict and the problem? Do you guys remember what we write at the end? Solution or resolution. The other word, there's another word we use too. Do you remember what that one is, Nasiah? It starts with a CL. Yeah.
Max.
I saw you mouth it. I was like, yes, climax. And then resolution. And you're right, it is the solution. You see that word solution in there. So basically, how solved. So this is the story sequence chart: characters and setting, problem, conflict and problem, and climax and resolution. Good. So now we left off, nobody even wants to help her make it. So she starts making it, right? And when she starts making it, there's a process to making bread. And that is right here. She says, not I, or everybody says, not I, not I, not I. And then she says, okay, I will then. And she did. And so this is the part, the process. Who can tell me, like, what does she do to get the bread ready for the oven? Go ahead.
So I made bread many times, and I already know that you have to like set it, and then you have to knead it and all this.
Yes. So
You
if
have to let it sit
and rise, right?
Yeah.
There's a big process. It takes a good part of the day, but kneading it is like, if when you were little, if you ever played with Play-Doh and you just kind of squish it and squeeze it and smash it and roll it and squish it, that's kind of what you do with the dough to get it all mixed in together using your hands. You use your hands a lot. So basically, she had to mix, and knead is that word. Not need like I need some coffee right now, but knead as in KNEAD. That's what it means to squish and smash and with your hands. And then we'll put that word dough, because DOUGH. That's the ingredients with the wheat. So she probably had to use some yeast and probably some milk or water and maybe an egg in there. So a lot of times, it depends on what type of bread you're making. Okay. And while she's working, like all day on this bread, it has to rise and all the stuff that she has to do with it. What is everybody else doing? Remember, we got to go through each character and tell what are they doing.
They're laying around in the mud. They're sleeping.
Exactly. So let's start with the
Powdering her face.
Yeah, powdering his face. Yeah, that's the funniest one, I think. That was the rat, huh? So let's start with a cat though. Let's put this in our outline. So what the cat, let's see. Oh, right here. The cat sat lazily by. So the cat's basically lazily. That would actually be a pretty good ly adverb. What if we did that? What if we did see and then lazily? Meaning you could say sat lazily or laid lazily or some kind of a way to say that. So the cat was lazy, lazily. What was the pig doing down here?
Probably just rolling around in the mud, getting dirty,
Right here it
living how
says,
pigs live.
I know, and they are dirty. Remember I told you I had pigs at one point and it was like, they are dirty and stinky and poopy and everything. Anyway, but right here it says, in the distance could be heard the snores of the dozing pig. So basically he's snoring, right? Snoring. And then, like Nasiah said, the rat is powdering his nose and admiring himself in the mirror. Well, I'm just going to put mirror and you guys can elaborate on that. You can even add a couple sentences because that is the funniest part, right? You could say he's getting ready for a date and he's looking at himself, telling himself how handsome he is, and he's just doesn't care about anything else but how he looks, and he's powdering his nose.
I said powder and then look.
Okay. Yep, you can put that. We try to stay to 3 words, so that's
I did.
I stopped there. Okay, that's good. Okay, then after that, she's baking it. It's finally in the oven. And then what should we put next? When it's in the oven, what happens to everybody? Or what happens to the odor, which is a good odor? I'm looking right here. This word wafted, it's probably not a word you use very often. I don't use it very often, but it's a really good descriptive word. In fact, this would be a good strong verb to
Taking
underline.
along, like breezed.
Yeah, it wafted. It's an action word for what the odor is doing. Now, and this odor is a good odor. You know, some odors are bad, but this one is actually a really good smell when a bread is baking. You probably know, Tyler, at your house when you guys bake bread. So it wafted. So let's put smell. And then I really like that word wafted, and you can use that as a strong verb. So that would be good to have in your notes. And everybody's, all the animals, it said all the animals, even other animals on the farm smelled it. They were all watching, excuse me, and hungrily and smacking their lips in anticipation. So they're like, ooh, I can't wait to have some of that delicious bread that the hen made all by herself.
They thought they were going to eat.
Uh-huh. They're like, oh, she's so nice. She did all that work just for us. So then, Nasiah, what was the last question? The very final question that she asked everybody.
Who will eat the bread?
Who will eat the bread? So, who eat, and we'll put quotations around that. And of course, C and P and R, what do they say now?
I will.
I will.
I'll eat the bread. Don't eat it without me.
Now, technically, I have 4 words here, but I'm going to keep that. That's okay. Every once in a while, if you have to have 4 words, you can. I put who eat, and then they all said, I will. I will. Okay, and then the punchline, right? What does the hen say back?
No, you won't. Instead,
No,
I
you
will.
Yes. No, you won't. I will. So we can put no, and then I will. And we'll put the word chickies here because she did share it with her little chickies because they were too little to even help her. And she's a good mama. So she wants to share with her chickies. So they're probably, I imagine they were just like eating it right in front of them and going, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is awesome. This is the best bread I've ever had in my life. And they're probably just like rubbing it into all the other animals, right?
It's like when somebody gets the last piece of the thing that you want.
Yeah.
And
And you're like, oh, no, that's not fair. Okay, good. So your job this week, and we have some time left over, so we can actually start working on your paragraphs, which will save you some time on your homework. But your job this week is going to be to write paragraph 2 and paragraph 3 using your checklist. Now, both of you started your story on Google Docs. So do you know how to pull that up at the same time as a Zoom? Because we can start working on it now. And that way you have less to do later. Might as well.
Is it okay if it's no really background noise, I just stay unmuted because I won't be able to. Okay.
Yeah, that's no problem. In fact, that's true always, Tyler. If it's quiet at your house, it's easier to just leave it off of mute. So, so whatever you think you need to do there. Do you know how to pull it up, Nisaya, on your computer at the same time?
Actually, I like writing it down first.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. That's a good idea. So basically what you guys are going to do is continue. So if you get, and I know you're writing it down first, Nisaya, so if you already have your other paragraph written somewhere, you can use the same page or use a separate page. It sounds like you like to write it and then type it later, and that's fine. So we're going to start right here, and we might as well help each other get through this. I'll get a new paper out and I can kind of work on it too at the same time. So how about Nisaya? How about you go first with Roman numeral 2 here? We have LRH, grow wheat, and then an arrow to bread. How do you think we could put that into a complete sentence?
The little red hen decided to grow some wheat.
Okay. And then how can we add something about the bread? Or you can make a second sentence for that if that's easier.
We're allowed to have more than 4 sentences, right?
It can have more than 4 sentences. I don't want it too big. We don't want to go like 10 or 12 sentences, but if you do need to add a couple, that's okay, Tyler.
I've got like 7 in my first.
That's okay. I would say anything under 10 is good.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I got to the end of my outline. Like the first.
Yeah. It's a lot of information. Well, the original story is like, I don't know how many paragraphs, but a lot. And it's 2 pages and we're condensing it down. So it is a little tricky. You said the little red hen wanted to grow wheat. Is that how you said it, Nisaya? So we could say wanted to grow wheat. You could say, and eventually, that's a good ly word actually, make some homemade bread. I'm just making this up. So if you have something different, go with what you want. Okay. This is where I'm just kind of helping you get started so you have less to do for your homework this week. if you like that, you can copy that. If you want to say it different, that's okay too. I'm going to go ahead and just underline eventually, because that actually is already one of my words. All right, let me know when you guys got that down. And give me a thumbs up. Okay. So, okay, good. Let's brainstorm the next sentence here. What do you think, Tyler? Plant seed CPR, no. How are we going to say that?
I said just the idea, but what I said was the little red hen found a plant seed and asked who would plant it. Who will plant the seed? The CPNR all said not I.
Okay, and you probably want to call them cat, pig, and rat in your original story rather than just CPR.
Yeah.
Because so that's good. Okay. Another little bit of advice is to not say little red hen each time, because that's kind of repetitive. So we actually could use the pronoun she in the next sentence, because that's who we're talking about here.
Okay.
And then it's not too repetitive. So you could say she. So what is your sentence with she, Tyler?
What is my sentence with what?
With she, like, I forgot how you said it. You said it earlier with the little red hen, but instead of saying the little red hen,
She found a plant seed and asked who would plant it. Who will plant the seed?
okay.
The cat, pig, and rat all said not I.
Did you start by saying she found a plant seed? Is that what you said? Okay, because we already mentioned that in paragraph 1.
Wait, yeah, but I have it in 2 as well.
Yeah, so you might want to change that. Maybe you could say she asked everyone, I think is how you put it. Maybe just keep out the part with the found the seed, because we already said that. She asked everyone on the farm, maybe. Who will help me plant the seed? I'll put that. If you guys want to change it, that's okay. Okay, I just want to pause there just for a second, just to show you how to write a quote, because we talked about this in grammar today. This is the attribution, she asked. So the attribution, remember, is the person or character talking, and that's her. We're calling her she so that we don't have the little red hen too many times. And then after I put everyone on the farm, comma, then the quote, who will help me plant the seed? And notice the question mark is on the inside of the quotation mark. So make sure when you type it or write it, you put it like that. Okay, so that's an example of how you have a character talking in your story. And you can make a new sentence for how they respond, or you can use the word and keep going with the same sentence. It's however you want to do it, but I'll probably, for mine, I'll probably start a new sentence and say, the cat rat and I forgot, that should be pig. The cat, pig, and rat all, and what's a good word on how, instead of saying said, all said, how could you put that for how they're answering that question?
Replied.
Yeah, there you go. I like that because it is a question.
How would you spell sorry, Charlie? I've got sorry, but how would I spell Charlie for that exact?
That would be, I think we put it on the back here. So sorry, it's CHARLIE.
Okay, because I know there's like CHARLEY and then all these
Yeah.
different.
You can actually, if you can spell it however you want, because it is a name, but this is the traditional way to spell Charlie.
Yeah, I was spelling it, and then Google Docs caught on to what I was trying to spell, and it just automatically.
Yep, they caught on to you. That's funny. All replied, I'm gonna say, I kind of like no way, Jose. By the way, so after that word replied, this is where you put the comma. Remember when the attribution goes first, so you use the word replied, comma, quote, no way, Jose, exclamation mark, remember inside of the quotation mark. Those are little tiny minute details, but it's good to know the rules on how to do quotations. So far we've got the little red hen wanted to grow wheat and eventually make some homemade bread. She asked everyone on the farm, who will help me plant the seed? The cat, pig, and rat all replied, no way, Jose. Okay, thumbs up if you, and yours can be different. Remember, you don't have to copy mine exactly. This is kind of how I'm doing it. Thumbs up if you got that part down, at least that, how they responded. Good, okay. And also, I have something else to say. I know you guys are working at the same time here. Notice we have the word who. You might be tempted to underline that for a who clause, but it is actually not a who clause because it is a question. Who will help me plant the seed is not a who clause, it is a question. So this is where it's going to be a little tricky because she does say, who will da 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 da, who will da 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 da, but that's not where you're going to put your who clause. You're going to have to think of another spot to tell more information about one of the characters or.
But then we'd have so
Bread.
much who clauses.
I know. I'm sorry to tell you. That's why I had to tell you. I'm like, it's not. It's a question. So whenever you have a question, it's not the same as a who clause. Okay. The next one, let's see how we do it on time. Oh yeah, we got some more time. Good. She's asking grow and cut. Oh, the wheat grew, right? And it was time to cut. You know, and here's another idea, you guys. Because you don't have to have speaking parts throughout. You could say something like, the wheat finally grew and was ready to cut, but the cat, the pig, and the rat didn't want to help, or something like that. You can keep it just a sentence. You don't have to have all these quotes throughout. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah? Does that make sense, Tyler? Yeah, okay, good. So I might do that next. So I can kind of spread out the speaking parts. So it's not like speaking, everybody's speaking all the time. So I might do that. And you guys can either do that with me or put it a different way. So, but what I'm going to put is the wheat finally grew tall and was ready to cut. I'm just going to say here, I'm going to take off my period. I'm going to put a little X there and say, but no one was willing.
No, I was just like doze out in writing. I was like, okay, let's let's just get this done. And I was going through to see what I had on my checklist. And I just realized I have so much banned words.
I wondered about that, Tyler. I kind of peeked at your first paragraph, but I was going to let you figure that out.
I don't think there's any in the first bit.
Okay.
No, oh no. No.
Well, at least you found it. So it's okay, Tyler. You can fix it and then turn it back in, okay? It's okay.
I'll just go ahead and fix that real quick.
So,
All right, fix.
okay, good. I'm glad you caught that. See, you'll get used to it. You will. The more you do this, and then you'll be like, okay, I can't use that word. I can't use that word. So you got to stay away from that. So, and then the next sentence, she goes into thresh and carry. I'm on this one right here, number 3. Does anybody have a good way to put this in a sentence? Do you have one, Nasiah? Thresh, carry, CPR, no? That's a lot to put in a sentence, so we can make more than one sentence there.
Who will thresh and carry the wheat?
Probably carry the wheat to the mill, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you want to put it like she's saying it. So how could you put the attribution? We don't want to say said. We could say the hen asked, or the hen
Yelled out.
yelled out. Okay. So we could start with a quote. So we'll start with a quote here. Who will help me thresh and carry the wheat to the mill? Question and then quote. The hen cried out. This is a good part. I think this next sentence, I'm just thinking here. This might be a good spot. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Is reaped like a exclamation thing for said or no?
What's the word?
Reaped.
Reaped?
Yeah.
No, that's more of a verb. Have you heard of the term reaped what you sow?
No.
Yeah, that's kind of like consequences, basically. But yeah, I don't think that would quite fit right here for that.
Okay.
But you could get creative and say like clucked, the hen clucked, or the hen, she's not a rooster, so we can't say cock-a-doodle-doo because that's only the roosters that do that. But she clucks, she chucks, chuck, 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 chucked out. I don't know. You can get creative like that. But here's where I'm thinking of saying the let's see. I'm going to make up something here. Okay. You guys can either copy me or do something different, but the animals, I'm going to say animals instead of saying the cat, the pig, and the rat, because we already kind of listed them there. And then I'm going to say who were busy being lazy, refused to help the poor hen. I'm just making that up. You can, if you like that, you can write that down. The animals who were busy being lazy. That's kind of a play on words, right? Obviously, you're not busy if you're lazy. So who were busy being lazy refused to help the poor hen. So here I have a who clause. I'm going to go ahead and underline that. So far I've got eventually, and I've got who. Oh, and we've got a couple strong verbs too, because we got replied and we've got refused. I kind of like this word refused. So really already in this paragraph, even though we're not quite done yet, we've got our keywords, or our dress-up words, I mean. Well, we're way over time. I totally lost track of time. So you're almost done with the second paragraph. So that was good that we had a little extra time in class to work on that. So your job is to finish the story, use your checklist, and have fun with it. And don't forget your grammar. And then, yeah, you might have a couple things to fix, Tyler, and it sounds like you already did. So I'll give you some feedback on your Google Classroom and your document there. And
As we were talking and stuff, I went through after I wrote the paragraphs. I went through and checked for banned words, and I fixed all of them.
Okay, good. Okay, good. That's the way to do it, especially on Google Docs. You can check it pretty easy that way.
LY's wit, who, which, and strong verbs underlined.
Good. All right, you guys, that was a really good class. We got a lot done. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Good luck with all your concerts, Tyler. Have fun with that.
Bye.